5 years ago, we launched our very first property on Airbnb.
We put everything that we had and a lot that we didn't have into the purchase of a $1 million beach shack.
Like all of our savings and cashing out most of the stock that we had and even some loans from family.
In short, we were completely over leveraged, and I'm sure a lot of people thought that we were crazy, but we had this vision and we really believed in it.
We did, and it was hard work, but fast forward 5 years and that property is a stable source of income for us right now. It covers the cost of carrying that property as well as our primary residence.
To be honest, we were a little bit nervous to make this video. We're going to be disclosing a lot of personal financial information, which we haven't really done in the past.
And we don't want to glorify going out and spending more money than you should.
Than you have.
Than you have. Yeah. This could have ended very badly for us, but in the end, it didn't.
Good idea? Bad idea.
So basically this is a disclaimer. We are not trying to tell you that you should go out and do exactly what we did. We are just sharing our story.
And share we will. We'll go over why we decided to purchase this property, the purchase process, and then the subsequent renovation details.
Also last year's occupancy and financial details.
And then ultimately we'll kind of give our feedback on whether or not we felt like taking on this debt was the right move.
So before we get started, if you could please hit that like and subscribe button for weekly short-term rental tips. And then let's go take a trip down memory lane to 2017 in Munich, Germany.
Welcome to Germany.
We should probably go a little further back than 2017. Bradley and I had been traveling a lot while we were dating, and this kind of all started from the amount of work trips that I was taking to Asia with my engineering career, and then the miles that I would rack up during those trips.
So Steven was earning miles through work trips, also through credit cards, sign-up bonuses. He was getting really into like travel hacking, I guess they call it, buying coins from the US Mint.
That happened.
Coined and minted.
Yeah, there was a little scheme, I guess you could call it, back in the good old days of points hacking, where you could buy coins, a dollar coin from US Mint. They wanted to increase the distribution of them. So they allowed people to buy them, even with a credit card, with no
Dollar
fees.
for dollar, no shipping cost.
Yeah, no extra cost. It was dollar for dollar with a credit card. So this was a nice way to meet spending sign-up bonuses for credit cards, and then just kind of juice up your points balances whenever you felt like it.
So he'd get the coins from the Mint and then take them to the bank and then pay off the credit card bill with them. So we probably shouldn't even be telling people about that.
They shut that down now, but it didn't last that long, but it was kind of a cool thing.
Credit card debt, credit card debt.
We would use those points to travel anytime we could. Like every single vacation day that we were allotted each year was used to travel somewhere.
We even took a couple like long weekend trips to Europe where we would leave the West Coast, San Diego on a red eye and arrive like in Paris, for example, spend the weekend and then fly back like either late Sunday night or Monday morning and then roll into work. And
like straight from the airport into the office.
Wasn't the most productive times in our work careers, but we had fun.
Oh man, I'm 2 hours late for work.
All of this is to say that when Steven's company announced that they were going to be opening an office in Germany, we jumped at the idea to go over there.
Living in Europe for 4 years and the travel that we got to do during that time was awesome. And the key here is it also introduced us to Airbnb.
We became experts at weeding through all of the properties on Airbnb to find the best ones.
So we were in Munich from 2013 until 2017. Then our son was born, and a few months after that, we decided it was time to come back to California.
Nashi, where are you going? Trying to get your bottle?
We knew that we wanted to be back in San Diego, ideally as close to the beach as possible. And we had been saving and saving, knowing that we wanted to buy something when we moved back.
Just out of curiosity, one day we were browsing Zillow and we kind of had our budget in mind. One day we slid that budget slider up a couple $100,000 and some duplex properties started popping up.
As we expanded that price filter, one property in particular caught our eye.
It was a duplex. It was about 460 square feet of an old like 1930s beach cottage, and then a semi-detached garage behind it with another similar square footage unit above the garage.
So 2 units, both less than 500 square feet each, and it's only about a 20-second walk to the boardwalk and Mission Beach.
The problem though was the asking price of $1.15 million was way out of our budget.
No, that's not in our budget here.
But we fell in love with this house, sight unseen, really, because we were still in Europe. And we also fell in love with the idea of an income-producing property that could cover at least a portion of our mortgage, that we could live close to the beach.
So we got a free trial to AirDNA. which back then was pretty much the only way to do short-term rental property research and prospecting. So we looked at comps and ran the numbers to see if it made sense to rent the upstairs unit while we were living in the downstairs unit.
And we really didn't know what we were doing, but we came up with a number where we thought if we could get the owner to come down to this number, we could do some renovations on the house, furnish it nicely. We thought that we could bring in about $5,000 a month, which would essentially cover the mortgage for the entire property.
We also had to figure out how we could generate enough cash so we could come in under the conforming loan limit for a 2-unit property at the time, which was $784,000.
So instead of just a traditional down payment, we would have to come up with the delta between that conforming loan limit and the accepted offer price. We went back and forth in negotiations with the owner. Honestly, it was kind of a nightmare. We thought several times that the whole thing was just gonna fall through. But in the end, we agreed on a price of $1,023,000.
That was a terrifying number for us at the time.
Terrifying.
Still sounds kind of terrifying. And we had to get really scrappy to get this deal done.
$1 million?
$1 million.
So the way it happened was we had the $784,000 conforming loan, the first loan, and then we got a second mortgage on the property for about $85,000, and then we came up with about $160,000 in cash, which was from our own, cash investments, as well as we took a loan from a family member for a small portion of that.
Closing on that house felt like we had arrived at a finish line, but in reality, we were just getting started because we still had to renovate and furnish and essentially start a business.
Oh, and we also had to pay off some tenants in both units.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Didn't even have a lease, and yeah, the old owner was not so well organized. So anyways, we got the tenants out.
And we had like a 9-month-old baby. It was a crazy time.
I was still working full-time at my engineering job, so the goal was for us to get the property online as quickly as possible.
We didn't just want to get it online as quickly as possible, we had to. Like, we could not afford to carry the mortgage for multiple months without any other income coming in from the upstairs unit.
And I didn't have a lot of free time back then with a full-time job, so we ended up hiring out most of the work to get the place ready.
You still don't have a lot of free time.
No, I probably won't for a while.
There is no free time.
So Stephen and I designed everything and picked out all of the materials, but we outsourced the labor, and Stephen was at work all day, and I became a very inexperienced foreman with a baby strapped to my chest.
All in for the renovations, we spent about $23,000. That was the renovations plus the furnishing cost to set up the house.
We tried to keep costs as low as possible, but even back then when we were first getting started, we knew that it was really important to not cheap out on things, to the extent where like I would go and buy myself like a cheap coffee mug and then take our nice set and put it upstairs, knowing that in time, once we started getting some income coming in, I could shuffle things around and rebuy, and we were scrappy.
Unfortunately, I only had this one coffee mug.
Yeah, the message here was we were trying to save in any way we could without sacrificing guest experience. So in the end, the house was ready to go, ready for listings in February of 2018.
I took terrible photos on my iPhone that I thought were pretty decent at the time, but we put those on Airbnb and just crossed our fingers and hoped for the best.
We had pretty low introductory pricing set, and the bookings started flying in. The first few weeks we were booked solid, so we started raising prices and continued to secure nice bookings through the rest of the year.
Money stress is tough. I know you probably understand this. It's tough on a personal level, it's tough within a marriage, and so those bookings coming in were such a weight lifted off of us.
Not only a financial relief, but also sort of an emotional relief that we hadn't made a big mistake. That little 450 square foot place was crushing it, and it was awesome to see.
Our occupancy that first year was insane. Like, it was nearly 100%. I think we had like 7 or 8 empty nights. We were covering the expenses for the entire property, and we were slowly starting to pay off our debts to our family and second mortgage and the setup costs.
In 2018, we had a little less than 10 rentable months, and we grossed $46,000. We were also doing the cleanings ourselves during this time, so we pocketed that money as well.
2019 had similar returns, and in 2020, we fared pretty well, all things considered.
We got a couple like longer bookings, multi-month bookings that helped fill up the calendar until demand for travel in the area started to go up again.
And then around May of 2020, we found out that I was pregnant again with our daughter, and the thought of the 4 of us living together in that tiny little beach cottage was very stressful.
The apartment was tiny.
whole time we'd been living in the downstairs unit, which was similar size, about 460 square feet.
It's 2 bedrooms, 2 very tiny bedrooms. One's about 10 by 10 and the other one is like 8 by 10.
No closets in either of those bedrooms either, and it's just really small.
Yeah, no storage to be seen. We had a queen size bed in our room. It was basically like pushed into the corner, and we had a dresser with like a foot of space between the dresser and the bed. You just kind of had to shimmy through there. But you know, we sacrificed. We knew that we had to do it.
It was a process, but we made it happen. We lived there for about 1.5 years in the original condition of the house, and then we completely renovated it from top to bottom.
That made the space so much more functional and a lot easier to live in. We added more storage, we moved some walls, and we really maximized the space of the house. But even still, the thought of the 4 of us there and all the gear that comes along with a baby just seemed like it was too much.
I also think we were feeling a little stir crazy because of the pandemic. The city had closed down the boardwalk and the beach for quite a long time, and there was a time where you could only be actively moving on the beach. You had to walk. There wasn't a lot to do. And
we were used to the beach kind of being our backyard, and when we wanted space, we'd just, you know, walk a couple feet and we were on the sand. But when we couldn't do that anymore, it just made everything feel even smaller. You guys get it? I've been there.
Working from home from our counter bar stool, and that was my desk setup, and it was hard.
So that fall, we ended up renting a house about 10 minutes away from the beach, and we converted the downstairs into an STR as well.
From then until now, both units have been actively running as short-term rentals.
And doing very well. We're able to fill single nights more easily on the upstairs unit since it's a single bedroom. So the annual earnings between the 2 units are actually pretty similar.
Let's take a deep look into that.
In 2022, we booked 324 nights upstairs and 309 nights downstairs.
So about 85% and 89% occupancy, respectively.
That's not including any of the time that we blocked off for personal use. Now that we're not in San Diego anymore, we live in the Palm Springs area. We definitely like to utilize our beach house during the summers when we just get too hot out here.
It's so hot!
The upstairs unit, which is 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, earned $94,027.81, and we paid out $9,465 in cleaning fees for a net of $84,562.81.
The downstairs unit, which is 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, earned $103,049.67, and we paid out $9,600 in cleaning fees for a net of $93,449.67.
So our total net earnings for the property were $178,012.48.
That's a great number on paper, but what about expenses?
Here's how that all broke down. Mortgage payments were $47,078.25.
Property taxes were $13,062.28.
Utility costs were $6,673.70.
Insurance costs were $1,580.15.
And supplies and other operating expenses like linen refreshes and household repairs were $1,982.35.
So our total expenses were $70,376.73.
That leaves us with earnings of $107,635.75 before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization expenses.
So 5 years later, was it worth it?
I mean, today I've had a pretty day of Airbnb customer service people, or
lack thereof,
but at the end of the day, this was worth it.
Property management and ongoing hosting. I see you have your good days and your bad days. You'll get that too. But as far as whether or not this first property was worth purchasing, absolutely, 100%.
We're happy. We've also seen the property appreciate through our renovations and then just market conditions about $400,000 to $500,000. And because of the proximity to the beach, probably going to continue to appreciate nicely.
Introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you are in your short-term rental journey. Are you just getting started? Are you still trying to decide if you want to take that leap into buying your first property?
Or if you're a seasoned host, let us know how your experience has been growing, buying that first property, how you got it done.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.